Susan, you got to break down this story for us, because I heard about the situation as we're talking right now. Last Sunday at the Arizona Cardinals game.
Yes.
You've been a season ticket holder with your husband for about 3 decades, correct?
Over 3 decades.
Over 3 decades. You show up to the game in a black Make America Great Again hat.
Correct.
And you were not allowed to enter the stadium with that hat.
Correct.
You had to throw it away in order to go to the game. Give us
Correct.
the details. What happened?
I went through the first checkpoint, which is where they check to see if you have the correct bags, and I already did. I know what the rules are, so I walk right through. And as I'm walking, I heard somebody screaming at me, going, "You can't bring that hat in." And I thought she was kidding. I thought, oh, ha ha ha, you know, she just doesn't like my hat. And got to the second checkpoint. By that time, she came up, stood toe to toe with me, and said, "Didn't you hear me? I said, you can't wear that hat." And
so
I'm
this
like,
lady was the security guard that works for, again, it's a third party that works with the Arizona Cardinals.
Correct.
SAFE,
Correct.
SAFE.
Correct.
She's in your face.
Literally in my face.
Okay.
And I was like, "What are you talking about?" You know, and she said, "No political attire." And I said, "Well, that doesn't seem right. I haven't heard that." And she's like, "You need to take the hat off." And I was like, I don't know if I want to do that. And then she's like, "Leave. You need to leave." And pointed to the exit. And I was like, "What?" And then my husband was like, "We're just joking." She's like, "I don't care. Just leave." And he was finally able to convince her to let us in if I threw the hat in the trash.
What comes to my mind is, would they say the same thing to somebody wearing a Harris Walls hat?
Correct. So everything happened so quickly, but my husband did throw out the question, if she had a Kamala hat on, would that be okay? And they didn't say anything. And
no answer to that.
No answer to that.
Okay.
And by the way, when this happened, it wasn't, there was one security woman that was in my face, but the whole security personnel at that gate, there's not just one person there.
Yeah.
All just went along with it, and nobody, they supported her. And I was trying to like, "Hey, anybody?" and
Yeah, can somebody have my back here?
Right, and that didn't happen.
At this point, I do want to pull up what the Arizona Cardinals State Farm Stadium
Correct.
is where you're going to the game.
Right.
Is their prohibited items. I know you
Correct.
sat down with 12 News, and when I heard about this story, I'm trying to figure out of all these prohibited items,
Correct.
what could it be?
Correct.
And then I know with 12 News and we thought of the same things. Maybe clothing deemed obscene or indecent in a public setting, which is very arbitrary if they're going to call your hat that. And then another one, any item deemed inappropriate or hazardous by stadium security. So obviously you don't have this entire prohibited list downloaded in your brain. You're just trying to understand, okay, no political stuff. You're not giving me an answer to the Harris Walls hat thing. It seems like there's an inherent bias here, and
Right.
I'm not getting clear answers, but I don't want to jeopardize season tickets or make more of a scene than I have to.
Correct. I mean, I wasn't going there to cause a scene. I was going there to enjoy the game, and everything happened so quickly that it took me a second to just figure out what just happened.
Have you heard about any other fans that were wearing any sort of political attire at the game? Did they get turned away?
I've heard that two men had been turned away, and that but that the other people had been let in.
Okay.
So it seemed like it was almost a gate by gate situation.
So at this point, too, again, going back to the timeline, you've gone past, this is the second security checkpoint.
Right, so I'm in the outer concourse.
So you haven't even scanned your ticket yet?
No, haven't gone inside yet.
So haven't officially gone inside yet, and then you have a boisterous security guard in your face that's telling you, in order to get in here, you got to throw the hat away.
Correct.
From there, once you got into the stadium, did you have any interaction with guest services or anybody a part of the security team or the Cardinals?
Yes, I talked to an usher, like right by the entrance of the inside the stadium, and asked him where security was. Where guest services was. And he's like, "Oh, why? Can I help you with something?" And I told him what happened, and he's like, "That's crazy. I haven't heard that." And
is this an usher you know? Because you've been going here.
No, it was just but I just thought I would, ask him. And so he was like, "I haven't heard that." And I would have saluted you if I would have seen that hat. And so We went right away to guest services and was told by the woman there that no, she hadn't heard of this apparent ban on political items either. And my only recourse at that point was to send an email to this address she gave me, which she said goes to upper management and that it'll be handled. And I was like, okay, great.
So have you heard back from guest services? Have you heard back from the security team? Anybody higher up that's apologized, tried to rectify the situation? What's going on now?
Yes, somewhat apologized. I heard back from the security team from Safe Management, and she made it clear that that is not their policy. The policy was only to include vulgar or offensive political merchandise, not family-friendly political merchandise like my hat.
Yeah.
So she did say it was one rogue employee. I said that was not the case, because there was many people standing around thinking the same thing and doing the same thing and supporting
her. Yeah, again, there's no security guard that's around the situation that's helping out to say like, no, like that's not the case.
And in addition, I talked to another security supervisor at the adjacent gate. He told me the same thing. Nope, no political hats, period. So, so she was apologetic. She offered to buy my hat, buy me a new hat. I was like, it's okay. And said she was taking this to the VP of security. Meanwhile, I heard from a manager from the season ticket holder office, and she reached out to apologize. And that's been it.
And there's been no public statement whatsoever? Because I was hearing rumors there might be a public statement, but the only thing that I've heard so far is, I know that you had an interview with 12 News out here in Arizona.
Correct.
And then I can actually read that off right now, exactly what that statement was. Here's this team statement, which you and I talking beforehand were saying this feels very lackluster. This is, quite frankly, a very lame statement, especially if it's only being provided to 12 News, and that's the only way it's getting amplified.
Correct.
In an isolated incident, interesting that they're going to say like this is just an anomaly. At Sunday's game, a stadium security member misunderstood a policy on prohibited items. Like most venues, in quotes here, signage, posters, flags, or displays that are political in nature, which seems like another thing that's very arbitrary. So you're not showing up with a Trump 2024 banner, flag, hat, merchandise, or anything like that, saying that those are not permitted. However, that did not apply in this instance. Moving forward, we will work to provide clarity to all stadium personnel in these situations. We have also reached out to the individual involved to communicate that their experience was not consistent with our policies and practices, and to apologize for that. Again, feels very lackluster. What more would you want from the security team there, safe, and what would you want from the Arizona Cardinals? Because it seems like to me, again, like people can call us conspiracy theorists, they can say that we have our own inherent bias, but it seems like they're hoping that this just fizzles out, and by next Sunday's game, they just forget about it.
Correct. Based on that statement, I can't help but think that they knew what the policy was. That the safe security person I talked to said the directive came from the Cardinals, and I think that, which is something that keeps happening a lot right now, is that they put this policy out, they were called on it, and then they went, oh, sorry, we didn't mean it. And I don't think that's enough. First of all, I know that there's a lot of people that are confused also, because as you said, I haven't seen anything, formal statement sent to media or X. There's a ton of X posters and that are really interested in what this is all about. And furthermore, the Cardinals have a full media team, and they should have, in my opinion, getting ahead of this a little bit. If they really mean what they're saying, that, oh, this was an isolated incident and that's not our policy, well then maybe, treat it with a little bit more respect instead of just trying to brush it aside. And it doesn't take the, I was humiliated. I was embarrassed. I was yelled at. And I just don't feel like I deserve that. And I'm not expecting personally any type of compensation or anything. I think I just feel like they owe myself and the public a little bit more of a clarification.
Yeah, because again, it just seems like there's a double standard here. It seems like there's a hypocrisy here. It seems like you're not getting a clear answer, and we're very clear when you're on the news saying, like, if somebody wants to wear Kamala Harris stuff at the game, go for it.
I am super freedom of speech. I could care less if someone had a Kamala hat or t-shirt on.
Right, absolutely.
And it seems like if everything's going to be so arbitrary, like why, if this is such a rogue employee, why is there no talk about a suspension? I know you're not calling for this person's job, but every single sports team is so focused on experience, and especially someone like you and your husband that has spent your hard-earned money for over 3 decades to support this team. When you don't have to continue to support them with your hard-earned money, you get embarrassed in front of all these people. You have to throw something away that you bought with your hard-earned money, and it seems like at this point they're treating you like you're nobody, and just kind of hoping that empty apologies are going to be able to make you forget about it and not want to fight for something better for you and every single fan that maybe wants to just simply and subtly maybe support their favorite candidate without making a big issue about it.
Absolutely, and that's all I was trying to do, just show my support. I mean, it was on the way to the game that we heard about the second assassination attempt on Trump, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so glad I have my hat on, to just do my little part to support. One thing I wanted to add, one of my first jobs was working for a professional sports team. It was a very high-profile, popular team, and I would like to think that they would have handled the situation way differently because they really appreciated their fans. They realized their value, and I feel like the Cardinals don't do that at all.
What would you hope is going to be the ending of this saga here? Like, what should the Cardinals do at this point? And would you encourage fans going to the game on Sunday against the Detroit Lions to wear MAGA hats and support Trump? And even if they're Harris supporters, like show up, and like if you want to wear that stuff at a sports game, like what do you think is going to happen here, and what would you encourage people to do on Sunday?
Right. Oh, absolutely. I am planning on going to the game. I might add a shirt to my to my hat, which I do still have to get a new one. And yes, absolutely. Be able to express yourself. There's no reason. I mean, this is what not to sound corny, but what the country's founded on. And nobody's being trying to be antagonistic by doing so. It's just trying to say, hey, we like this person. We think that they're right for us. And that's it.
What would be your message to the owner of the Cardinals? Like, what would you expect from him to help rectify this situation as you move forward?
Basically, maybe think about the whole customer service aspect of how they handle issues with fans or media or players or whoever it is, and realize that the Cardinals are in a unique position because for the longest time, most of their fans came to games because they were fans of other teams. Now they're finally getting to the point where they've built a pretty good fan base. Well, you got to recognize that and respect that.
What do you think Donald Trump would say if he heard about this story?
Oh, first of all, I would love if he heard about the story. But secondly, I think he would be I don't want to say mad, but yeah, he would be like, wait a second, this isn't right. This is exactly why I'm running for president.
Final question for you.
Yes.
Obviously, we have so much division going on in the country. Again, it seems like for someone to get that upset about not even a red MAGA hat, like it's like you probably have to get pretty close to the hat to see that it says "Make America Great Again."
Right.
For someone to get that upset and to take it upon themselves to parade you in front of thousands of other people into the stadium, and while free speech seems to be under attack, online and even at NFL stadiums now, What would you encourage people to do throughout the rest of this election season while they're attending games?
Like you had mentioned before, show your support, first of all. The other thing is encourage your friends and your families, anybody you can, a stranger that you meet at the grocery store, whatever, to vote. And if they're not really sure about the issues, then let them know this is what we're fighting for.
It makes me feel bad that like now you have to go through this whole saga and this song and dance to try to even just get some recognition as a season ticket holder for 3 decades. Again,
34 years.
34 years, and this is hurt your experience. Maybe hurts your view on the team from the top down.
Absolutely.
Like, this is not the way that our country should be. This is not the way that sports games should be. And I feel like, again, like if we're talking about, if Kamala Harris is talking about how we need to unify,
right?
I think a great way to unify is through sports.
Absolutely.
And if you want to wear your political attire there, I'm not expecting or want people to wear like an F, this candidate. Like, we don't need that stuff there.
Right.
But if you want to wear a black MAGA hat to a game, that shouldn't be a problem, and you shouldn't be treated this way. And I really hope that the Arizona Cardinals release some sort of public statement or try to rectify this in a way where it's not like, here's some empty apologies, and I kind of hope that this is over. It doesn't show that they support Harris or they support Trump. It's like, no, you support good experiences.
Right.
You support your dedicated season ticket holders.
Yes.
And you want sports to be a place where we can unify, because we're desperately looking for places we can unify. And if we can't even wear black MAGA hats to games, what are we not going to be able to do in 5 to 10 years?
Correct. I 100% agree with that.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you talking to me.
Sure.
And I hope that we can amplify this story a little bit.
Thanks so much for your help.
And hey, if Trump hears about it, I really hope he does.
I'll bring you along with me.
Yeah.
To go to Mar-a-Lago.
What I'm thinking, though, is I might want to go to the game with you on Sunday.
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
And wear some Donald Trump attire.
Absolutely.
And I really want to see how they're going to react, and actually see if they can put their money where their mouth is.
Yep.
And say, like, we actually have rectified this situation. So
I don't think we'll be alone.
let's do it.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, Susan.
You're welcome.